Hello children, I am Bindu and welcome back to a new session. Does sound get reflected at the surface of solids? Let's find out more on this in today's lesson. But before starting, let's go for a revision. Recapitulation. The speed of sound depends primarily on the nature and the temperature of the transmitting medium. The velocity with which the wave travels through the medium is called wave velocity. Loudness of sound is defined as the degree of sensation produced in the ear. The quality of sound is the characteristic which enables us to distinguish between musical notes emitted by different musical instruments. Learning outcomes. At the end of this lesson, students will be able to understand about loss of reflection, echo, application of echo, condition for echo, reverberation, keywords, reflection of sound, echo, reverberation, concept map. Loss of reflection. Like light waves, sound waves also obey some fundamental laws of reflection. The following two laws of reflection are applicable to sound waves as well. First, the incident wave, the normal to the reflecting surface, and the reflected wave at the point of incidence lie in the same plane. The angle of incidence, angle I, is equal to the angle of reflection, angle R. Second, the sound waves that travel towards the reflecting surface are called the incident waves. The sound waves bouncing back from the reflecting surface are called reflected waves. For all practical purposes, the point of incidence and the point of reflection is the same point on the reflecting surface. A perpendicular line drawn at the point of incidence is called the normal. The angle which the incident sound wave makes with the normal is called the angle of incidence, I. The angle which the reflected wave makes with the normal is called the angle of reflection, R. Echoes. An echo is the sound reproduced due to the reflection of the original sound from various rigid surfaces such as walls, ceilings, surfaces of mountains, etc. If you shout or clap near a mountain or near a reflecting surface, like a building, you can hear the same sound again. The sound which you hear is called an echo. Echo is caused due to the reflection of sound. one does not experience any echo sound in a small room. This does not mean that sound is not reflected in a small room. This is because smaller rooms do not satisfy the basic conditions for hearing an echo. There are some necessary conditions required for hearing an echo. The persistence of hearing for human ears is 0.1 second. This means that you can hear two sound waves clearly if the time interval between the two sounds is at least 0.1 second. Thus, the minimum time gap between the original sound and an echo must be 0.1 second. The above criterion can be satisfied only when the distance between the source of sound and the reflecting surface would satisfy this equation. Thus, the minimum distance required to hear an echo is 1/20th part of the magnitude of the velocity of sound in air. If you consider the velocity of sound as 344 meters second inverse, the minimum distance required to hear an echo is 17.2 meter. There are some applications of echoes. Some animals communicate with each other over long distances and also locate objects by sending the sound signals and receiving the echo as reflecting from the targets. The principle of echo is used in obstetric ultrasonography, which is used to create real-time visual images of the developing embryo or fetus in the mother's uterus. This is a safe testing tool as it does not use any harmful radiations. Echo is used to determine the velocity of sound waves in any medium. Reverberation. A sound created in a big hall will persist by repeating reflection from the walls until it is reduced to a value where it is no longer audible. The repeated reflection that results in this persistence of sound is called reverberation. In an auditorium or big hall, excessive reverberation is highly undesirable. To reduce reverberation, the roof and walls of the auditorium are generally covered with sound absorbing materials like compressed fiberboard, flannel clothes, rough plaster and draperies. The seat materials are also selected on the basis of their sound absorbing properties. There is a separate branch in physics called acoustics, which takes these aspects of sound into account while designing auditoriums, opera halls, theatres, etc. Let us now derive a formula for finding out the speed of sound to hear an echo. Let the distance travelled by the sound from source to obstacle is equal to d. Then distance travelled by the sound from obstacle to source is equal to d. Thus, total distance travelled by the sound wave is equal to 2d. Let the echo time be t seconds. Speed is equal to 2d by t. Uses of multiple reflections of sound. Musical instruments, megaphones, loudspeakers, horns. Musical instruments such as nadaswaram, shanai, and trumpets are all designed to send sound in a particular direction without spreading it in all directions. In these instruments, a tube followed by a conical opening reflects sound successively to guide most of the sound waves from the source in the forward direction towards the audience. Stethoscope. Stethoscope is a medical instrument used for listening to sounds produced in the body. In stethoscopes, these sounds reach the doctor's ears by multiple reflections that happen in the connecting tube. Designing of concert halls and cinema halls. Generally, the ceiling of concert halls, conference halls, and cinema halls are designed as such that sound after reflection reaches all corners of the hall, as shown in figure. In some halls, a curved ceiling is arranged in such a way that the sound after getting reflected from the ceiling spreads evenly across the hall. Points to remember: the incident wave, the normal to the reflecting surface, and the reflected wave at the point of incidence lie in the same plane. A reflection of sound arriving at the listener in more than 0.1 second after the direct sound is called an echo. A reflection of sound arriving at the listener in less than 0.1 second after the direct sound is called reverberation. Echo is used to determine the velocity of sound waves in any medium. Thank you.